Hello! Today in the lesson, we will solve examples where we will add decimal fractions. To do this, we will remember the algorithm for adding decimals. The first example is 28 whole 25 hundredths. We need to add 40 whole 71 hundredths. In order to find the sum of two decimals, we will remember the rule we used to add. You and I have talked about how we can add using columns, but to do this, it is important to remember that the whole part will always be under the whole part, and the fractional part will always be under the fractional part, the dot will always be under the dot. Therefore, we write down 28.25 hundredths plus, and now we write the second summand. That's 40.71 hundredths. 40.100. I write it under 28 whole points, which is 40 whole points. Checking. Whole part under whole part, dot under dot. And now I write down the fractional part, 71. As we can see, we can add these two numbers together. 5, I add 1, that would be 6. 2 plus 7, that would be 9. Point. 8 plus 0, that would be 8. And 2 plus 4, that's 6. The result is 68.96 hundredths. I'm writing down the answer, 68.96 hundredths. As you can see, adding decimals is not difficult at all. The second example I'd like to look at is 23.52 hundredths plus 5 whole 47 hundredths. Let's add the two decimals together. I'm going to write down 23.52 hundredths plus 5.47 hundredths. And now we need to know the whole part under the whole part. Notice 23 whole ones and 5 whole ones. Where, under what numeral should I put that 5? Under the number 3, of course. 5 whole. Because 5 whole is followed by a period. I write 5 whole under the 3. Then I write the fractional part, 47 hundredths. Now I add these fractions together. 2 plus 7 is 9. 5 plus 4 is 9. 3 plus 5 is 8. And I don't have any number under 2. That's what we agreed. If there's no number under a number, no digit, you can write 0. But the thing is, I may not write down 0. But you can, in principle, write it down. That is 2, I add 0, it will be 2. Now mind you, I wrote down instead of 5 whole, 47 hundredths. The number 05.47 hundredths. I've changed it a little bit, but why did I change it? To make it clearer to me how to add. But the fact that I added a 0 at the beginning of a decimal or a 0 at the end of a decimal doesn't change the number. So let's look at another example, third example. I need to add the following decimals. Fractions. 8.99 hundredths plus 2.2 tenths. Remember our rule. Whole part by whole part. Fractional part by fractional part. I'm writing down 8.9 hundredths plus 2.2 tenths. Whole part by whole part, which is 2.2 tenths. Now we add it up. Notice your attention to the fact that there is no number under the 9. So what do? We add a 0. Guys, remember that we're adding a 0. The point is that when we will subtract decimal fractions with you, we will necessarily write 0 in order to correctly perform our actions. So, we're adding. 9 plus 0 would be 9. 9 plus 2 is going to be 11. We write 1 down and 1 we memorize. Next we put a dot. 8 plus 2 would be 10. Yes, the one that we memorized, we end up with 11. So, the sum of 8.9 hundredths and 2.2 tenths is 11.19 hundredths. Once again, one very important point. If when you're adding, you memorize one of the numbers, as in this case, that is, I add 2 to 9, I get 11, I don't write 11 here, I write 1, I write 1, I write 1, and I memorize 1. Why? Because next I also need to add 8 and 2. And then when I find the sum of 8 and 2, I have 10, and only after that I add this one. The result is 11.19 hundredths. So, today we looked at 3 examples in which we added 2 decimal fractions. Next lesson, we will look at an example in which we need to add 3 decimals. And for today, our lesson has come to an end. Goodbye, see you again.